Right here at Cherry Creek Mortgage, we just spent the last year designing and building our own custom studios here, and for our first live show, we have Mr. Jim Reape with Reape Rickett Law Firm. Thanks for joining us again, Jim.
Thank you, guys.
Of course, Mr. Gino joining us.
I'm still here.
That's right, right next to me. You got to check out this new studio. It is amazing. Love you to join us by going to donandgino.com, DONANDGINO.com. Click on Listen and Chat Live, and you can see us nice, clear. We're waving to you right now, in fact. What's cool is we got cameras that go back and forth amongst Gino and I and our awesome guest here. And right before the break, we were talking about an interesting topic that I even told Jim I was stumbling on a little bit because I don't quite understand it. Because I guess the original California law said that you could only two parents can be recognized as parents. Two people,
exactly.
Two individuals, basically.
Traditionally, right. So let me give you an example. Real case, 25 years ago. Married woman has an affair, becomes pregnant, has the child. Bio dad immediately steps up, involves himself in the child's life, and assumes the role of father, and continues in that role, goes to court, gets a judgment of paternity, pays his child support. 7 years go by. So now you've got a 7-year-old child who knows exactly who his father is. Husband files a lawsuit, wants the old paternity judgment thrown out, and he wants to be deemed the father, because we have a presumption under the law that if a married woman gives birth, that her husband, unless he challenges the issue within 2 years, is deemed the father of the baby. So it's not a genetic test at all. It's a relationship-based test.
Okay.
So here we have somebody who had a highly established relationship with his son, who's now coming to conflict with husband, who has no biological connection to the child, but remained married to mom, so was more like a stepfather. Because of the way that the law was back then, the husband was absolutely right that his presumed parenthood status was going to be stronger than socio-dad and, genetic dad, the one who actually played the role.
So what happened for that, genetic dad?
I like the one you used earlier, bio dad.
Bio dad.
Reminds me of that movie, Bio Dad.
So unfortunately for this young man, he lost his father, because once husband and wife assume the role of parents, then they control access to the child, and it was denied access.
Oh, wow.
And so now we've changed that. So how would that case be different today?
In that type of case, we would probably now recognize both men as parents as well as mom. So that would allow the court to consider custody for any of the parents, visitation for any of the parents, and allocating financial responsibility, not 2 ways but 3 ways.
Wow.
Nice. Well, that's
that benefits all parties then.
Well, particularly, when it comes to kids, everything that I look at and everything that I comment from is really through the eyes of the child out, because they're the ones that we have to protect.
Right. And it's nice, Jim. We've had you in here quite often, and when it comes to children, your eyes light up and you get protective.
Absolutely. I mean, I will not represent you if you are not good to your child.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good piece. In fact, I mistakenly was supposed to start off the show by congratulating you.
Well, thank you, sir.
Speaking of your eyes lighting up,
well, I was thinking about that.
Somebody just got engaged.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
She's a beautiful lady.
She is.
And she's a lucky lady too.
Somebody mentioned that, and I had to disagree. But I am
Only because
allowing-
you know yourself.
Yeah,
Hopefully she
I'm-
doesn't take you to court on that.
I'm a bit of a handful, but I have agreed to let her put one of those animal shock collars on me to sort of,
Keep you under control.
yeah.
we even thought about giving you one of those here at the studio. Jim, that's enough. Next topic.
Hey, we need to get one of those part of the vault. I like that.
And Gino, yours is on its way. Again, if you just tuned in, you tuned into the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, right here at the Vault Studios with Mr. Jim Reape of Reape Rickett Law Firm, one of the best family law practices in town, a good friend of ours, and just great information. So that was very interesting information, and thank you for helping us clarify that.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, and that's probably the easiest way that the thing arises. Gino brought up during one of the breaks, because people have starter marriages or things like that, and they move on, that a child is probably going to have a significant relationship with a number of adults in their life. Just because you're there doesn't mean that you're going to earn the position of parent.
So true.
And that's going to be hard for the courts to figure out what is the defining line. But all of the published decisions these days, when there is competing presumptions, because you have IVF, you have all sorts of other things. You have people do IVF and they do them outside the lab and don't have the protections of the law that way. But the courts have gotten it. You know, we used to think of children as property, so it was very straight, just property law. But now all of the appellate courts are looking at where's the relationship, what was intended, what did the parties expect, what, you know, were they agreeing to do, and they protect the rights of the child to maintain these relationships.
All right, good stuff. Again, that's Jim Reape with Reape Rickett Law. Okay, I have to touch on before we leave today, because we were touching a little bit on bullying and how a lot of children could either be the bully or be bullied electronically these days, not just physically. Of course,
Yeah,
that could be, that still happens, but even more so you hear about Facebook and Twitter and how unfortunately children are taking their own lives because of this bullying. What can be done about it?
There's a number of things that can be done. The first thing is, like we said, you need to be monitoring your children's electronic devices to find out which side of this they may be involved in. And the first thing you do is you call the police. You make a report with the police. You could also go to the district attorney's office. Very frequently, this type of bullying will constitute a crime. The other thing that you do is you go to the school, or you go to the whatever organization it's happening in. If it's your Boy Scout troop, then you tell the troop leader. So you tell those people. Now, that doesn't mean this is going to stop, but it's going to put them on notice. The other is you can contact an attorney. Obviously, save all the evidence. Don't delete it. Save all the evidence, bring it into the attorney, and there's a number of options there. Number one, most form of bullying will give rise to a civil action for damages. Okay, well, who wants to sue a kid? What are you going to get from a kid?
a parent.
Exactly. So what we do is the people that you bring in and give notice to are the parents. So now the parents need to take a more active role, or they're going to have a direct cause of action against them and their assets. The other is every form of bullying will constitute harassment, and harassment is a type of conduct that the court has the ability to restrain. So there's a domestic violence restraining order if we're talking about family or a dating relationship, and there a child of 12 can apply for an order by themselves.
Okay, so unfortunately we're coming to an end. Good stuff though, and you want to check out we'll have more information. Jim, thank you for sharing such great information. We're going to touch on these subjects a lot more down the road and stuff.
Looking forward to it.
We want to thank, of course, Joe Messina and Furman and George helping out, Mrs. Shannon Fosna, our producer, and of course Gino. Do not go away. We have the #1 real estate agent in Santa Cruz, one of the #1 agents in all of California and the nation, Mr. Neil Weichel, coming up next. Don't go away.
HPS Communication Center.